Hey everybody, thank you for checking out A1 Math. And today we're talking about writing an equation for a quadratic function. And we're going to be changing them from vertex to standard form. Let's take a look. Well, the first thing I want to do is review multiplying polynomials, in this case two binomials. And a lot of times students use the for method. And that's what you could use here. You will multiply the first, the outside, the inside, and the last. Okay. When we do 5x times negative 6x, we get negative 30x squared. We do 5x times negative 3, and we get negative 15x. When we multiply 5 times negative 6, we get negative 30x. And then we multiply 5 times negative 3, we get negative 15. Okay. Now, with that done, we just go ahead and simplify by combining our like terms. Okay, and now we have negative 30x squared minus 45x minus 15. And that's multiplying polynomials. Now, that's important for writing an equation from vertex to standard form, because what we're going to do is take our standard form and convert it. I'm sorry, our vertex form and convert it by spreading the polynomial or the binomial that's multiplied times itself. Let's take a look at an example. Okay, see here in this example, what we want to do is take this x plus 6 squared and change it to multiplying two binomials that are the exact same. Okay, so that's going to be my first step, is to write it as two binomials. So just like anything, if you have 5 squared, really what it is 5 times 5. If you have x squared, it's x times x. But if you have x plus 6 squared, it's x plus 6 times x plus 6. Now that we have it in the form of a binomial, what we want to do is use the for method and go ahead and multiply the two binomials. Okay. When we do that, we get x times x, which is x squared. We get x times 6, which is 6x, 6 times x, which is 6x, and 6 times 6, which is 36. Now, this step is kind of crucial. Um, if you have a coefficient in front of your binomials here, you want to multiply that coefficient first before you subtract this 9. But in this case, the coefficient is 1. So there's no need to multiply that. And we're just going to subtract the 9 and combine the rest of the like terms. Okay. Now we have this in standard form. It's going to be x plus 2x plus 27. I'm sorry, this is supposed to be x squared. Let me fix that. Okay. Now let me take a look at our last example. Okay. This one has a coefficient in front, and since it does, we want to be really careful about multiplying before we add in this constant out here. Okay, my first step is to go ahead and separate it by into two binomials. So now I have negative 1/3 times x negative 4, or x minus 4, times x minus 4 plus 5. And if you think about order of operations, you want to multiply first. So that's what we're going to do. We'll go ahead and do our for method here. All right, that's going to get us x squared minus 4x minus 4x plus 16. Make sure you keep your signs together. Okay, now my next step, I'm just going to simplify these terms by combining my two negative 4x's. That's going to give me a negative 8x. And this is what I mentioned before, where you have this negative 1/3 coefficient. What you want to do is distribute that to each term in this trinomial here. Okay, so once we do that, we'll have a negative x squared over 3. We'll have a positive 8x over 3. And then we have a negative 16 over 3. Essentially what we did is just divide by 3 on each term here. Plus we make sure our signs were straight. Negative times a positive is a negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. And negative times a positive is a negative. Now, knowing I'm needing to add this constant to this constant here, I went ahead and changed the form. Um, 15 over 3 is the same as 5, because 3 will go into 15 5 times. So the reason I put it over 3 is because I have a negative 16 over 3. And I want to be able to have the same denominator, so I'll be able to add. And that's going to be my last step. I'll go ahead and combine those two like terms, negative 16 over 3 and negative 15 over 3. That's going to give me a positive 1 over 3. And that's my answer. So this is easy if you take your time. The first thing you want to do is go ahead and separate your binomials into factors. Then you want to distribute your coefficient, simplify your terms, and then add that last constant. Okay, and again, this is changing quadratic functions from vertex to standard form. I hope you enjoyed that and see you next time.